Hello, welcome to Six String Therapy. I'm DJ Mayday, your producer, your content creator, artist, DJ.
And I'm Professor S, psychotherapist with a private practice here in New York.
Today, we're going to talk about the royal family, the death of Queen Elizabeth II, right?
Yes, we
As an
are.
American, all I can remember is that this was always happening over there, but it was always on TV here, as if we were still some kind of colony of the British Empire. I guess there's some kind of relation, and it just kind
Yeah,
of
it's
trickled.
close historical ties.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess it meant something here. I know Princess Di, she was huge here. She was like the biggest movie star ever, when she was alive, and they've been keeping track of even her kids, Harry and Philip, and their marriages and their kids and everything that's going on with them. So it's like almost like they're our monarchs, sort of. But that's all I know. I don't really know. Hence, we just so happen to have a British native, born and raised.
Me, Stephen Welch, born in Birmingham, England. And I came to this country when I was 15. So from birth to 15, I was raised in England, Birmingham, England.
So, what is your take? I mean, I don't want to like we had a
See,
couple.
I'm really trying to do the professional explanation of my thoughts and feelings about this. But what's your specific question, sir?
My specific question is, she has obviously more political pull than I thought, right? I mean, I didn't know the prime minister met with the queen every week. I mean, that's like as if the president was meeting with the queen or king every week. I mean, that has ramifications.
Yeah, go ahead.
And she's the queen of Australia, and like 13 other relatively pretty
She's
Jamaica.
the figurehead. The figurehead.
The figurehead, but
So what's your question to me, though?
well, to me, it's sad. Anybody dies, it's sad, and whatever. I feel certain sad, I guess, for the Queen of England. Don't want to see anybody die. Don't want to see, anybody hurt or families hurt. But she's not my queen. But I was wondering how you felt being a
A
native,
former Brit.
former Brit.
I mean, yes, a former Brit. I'm an American citizen. Well, I mean, the thing is, Queen Elizabeth and the royal family mean a lot to the British culture. There's an identification of the Queen. Almost the Queen is the embodiment of England,
Right.
and so there's a lot of royal attachment to their day-to-day lives, and the Queen walking her dogs and what the Queen is wearing in various royal families. So it's like part of the psyche of the country is the royal family. So when somebody is born, dies, things like that is very, very it's a very powerful experience for the psyche of the country. When you think about World War II, the Queen was seen as almost like a stable base of
Leadership.
leadership of England.
Right.
So it's a very powerful. We're talking about over 500-year monarchy. I don't know how far back it goes, but it's all the way back to the Middle Ages, actually. But in terms of my own personal experience or feelings about the royal family, it's not that positive, I have to admit. As a person of color, the black person, black people from the African diaspora, which means where black people are around the world, got to those locations usually through slavery. Usually, whatever minerals and diamonds and gold and chemicals that come out of
Sugarcane.
those, right, came from slavery. And so the British were involved in the slave trade very actively. And a lot of those countries like Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Jamaica, they all became colonies of England. And so my parents' country is Barbados. And so their colony or part of the Commonwealth, what they call the Commonwealth of the British monarchy, specifically the Queen. So even as young, we were speaking before videotaping this, but I was sharing with DJ Mayday as early as 11, I didn't quite see the purpose of the monarchy. Like when you're watching TV, you're seeing them walking, you're seeing them leading marches, you see them sitting, you see them shaking hands, and but you don't see them working. They're not doing things. And coming up as a working class from a working class family, we're working. We're going to where people are working. I have two parents that worked, and you know they didn't seem like they were struggling. They were in these huge houses. Who paid for them?
Well, that's the other thing. I was just about to ask you. So is it
The taxes.
who
The
contributes? Is it just
people.
the British people who contribute, or is it everyone in the realm of the
I
British
don't.
Empire?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because that's
But I
wild
said-
to me.
but
They're
I think
bankrolling this like
but I think
lifestyle.
but I think that as a colony, there's a level of influence that the British will have on their politics,
Right.
on their imports, exports, tourism. Country like Barbados, where my family's from, they are no longer under the British monarchy. They
Right.
actually, literally, they're not just independent; they are no longer part of the Commonwealth, as they say.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
Ever since she died, there's been these rattlings of all these countries are talking about actually departing from the
Yes.
Commonwealth of England, which
Yeah.
is interesting. Which does that diminish British power?
No,
No, they
I
still.
don't think so at all. I don't think so because you can legally distance yourself however you want to say it, but there's still going to be that economic
Tie.
tie. You know what I mean? But so as a young person, I did not understand from a practical point of view why the monarchy existed because they didn't work. As far as I'm concerned, as a simple-minded young person, they're not working. But I understand the symbolism. I understand the historical. I understand the emotional attachment. But from a person who, and I was watching a show, the news, and there was a clip, and they were just interviewing people of how they felt about the passing of the Queen, and they interviewed like two black people, and they were both like, "Oh, we miss her, and we're so sorry to see her go. She was great for the country." So my opinion is not like a monolithic opinion, but there's quite a few people that do think somewhat like myself, where they don't see the practicality of the monarchy, and this is not necessarily a people of color approach. The population. There's a good chunk of the population that don't feel that the monarchy is past its time.
What about their? This is the thing that I noticed too, and just based on what I know about kings in the past, they led the countries they ruled, and they ruled whatever way they wanted.
Yes.
But this monarchy, and even from when she was officially crowned Queen of England, from her first speech, she said service to the people. So I don't know what that means, all the way because I'm not British, whatever. But that's a running thing. They keep saying service to the people, service to the people. Is it possible that the monarchy has changed enough for you to accept them and maybe even forgive and forget?
No. Let's look at a good.
I knew that was the
I took a
answer,
I took a
but I
moment
just
to
wanted
think.
to throw that out
I
there.
took a moment to think, and I said no. So the reason, just as an example, right?
Right,
Let's
go
look at Harry and Meghan,
Right.
right? So there was a school of thought like, wow, the monarchy is changing because we have Meghan, who's mixed race, and this is a symbol of the future. But it quickly became she was so torn apart in the British tabloids. Any movement she made, she was torn up. Racist comments. I mean, if you
All
look
right,
at
all right, all right. Can I
What?
just jump in for 2 seconds?
yeah,
They virtually, the British press virtually killed Princess Diana.
right.
I understand that the British press's angle was racist. It had racist.
But do you
tones.
see? But do you see why with Diana? Let's take the race out of it.
Okay.
Let's take it out
Let's
of
do
it.
Let's play this
Let-
game.
Yeah,
Take the race out.
it. Diana broke the rules.
How so?
She touched babies with AIDS. She held black children. She hugged them.
Right.
She went to different countries and participated in what they were doing. She wore what do you call that when you wear a vest and you're going into where there's mines
Oh
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
wear
yeah.
these
Like a
vests.
armored.
She put those on. She was walking in those areas, and before her, none of the royalty did that. None of them did that. You didn't see royalty hugging black children.
The people's princess.
You did not see in the midst of the AIDS crisis picking up babies and holding them and talking to them and talking to the parents. That's why people or the royal family was pissed with her because you're doing things and she's beautiful and she would dance and she would do all she was so relatable to the average Brit that no one did that before. And so just stretching it out to I'll take the racial stuff off of Megan because I know how you go and you know how I
No,
go.
I'm playing devil's advocate. Purely
Relax,
playing devil's
relax.
advocate. Go ahead.
Remember, your elevator goes to the ninth floor. Let's take it easy. We can always walk up those steps.
I can walk up them
We
steps.
can walk up
Boy.
them steps, boy.
Let's go.
In a similar fashion, Megan was a different royal. She was dancing with all kinds of people. She was dancing with the black kids. She was talking about,
Oh, you mean Princess Diana?
Megan. I'm saying Megan was
Oh,
of
oh,
that.
Megan
Megan was
was-
of that type as
Oh,
well.
got you.
You see what I mean?
Right, right,
So
right,
she
right, right.
became so relatable to a lot of people, but then there was this backlash of she's doing this, she thinks she's this, and she thinks she's that, and she talks to the staff like this. So the British media is like the worst. They assassinate, and this is not just about Meghan. This is about how
Anybody.
they deal with people,
In
the
general.
celebrities. They tear people new ones all of the time.
Wasn't that isn't the British tabloid the original paparazzis? Isn't that where it all kind of came from?
I guess I don't know that.
Uh,
Paparazzi is what, an Italian word? But I guess
Yeah.
so. But I mean, I guess I don't know about that part. But when you think of the Inquirer, like we have the Inquirer, all of their newspapers are the Inquirer. And I'm not saying every single one, but those are ones that like the working class people. That's what they're gonna read, right? And it's very salacious and it's very like statements made by sources, or photographs that are unflattering and all these
Right.
interpretations.
Or they catch you out there.
They
cheating.
catch you out doing something. So, which is the same thing they did with Diana. They
Right.
create all kind of like
All right, so
smear campaigns.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear a certain reverence for Diana that it's almost different than how you feel, obviously, about Queen Elizabeth and the rest of the royals.
Right.
So-
And let's be clear. Diana came from a wealthy family,
Right.
very wealthy family, and so it's not like she had some kind of working class background, so to speak. But she was
related.
relatable. She was a person of the people, and that is not how the royals conducted themselves over hundreds of years. So that's where. So
right.
if the monarchy looked like Diana, I would have a whole different kind of sense of them. But
Wow,
because
okay.
she worked, she brought
She's in the
issues
trenches.
to the fore. She's in the
the
trenches,
trenches.
yo.
Let me ask you another
yes,
question.
of
So,
course.
how do you feel about King Philip?
I don't have a feeling about King Philip.
Like,
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it, baby.
Well, I
Let's
mean-
go.
I mean, he was the one having an affair while he was married to Diana that became very public. And I remember watching an interview with Diana, and she was saying from the moment they were married, there was three of us in this marriage: Camilla, her, and her husband.
Wow.
From the beginning.
Wow. Let me throw this at you.
So no,
Like,
I
always
don't,
thought the
I
same
don't, I
thing.
don't,
know
I ain't
shit.
I ain't feeling them.
All right, so you ain't feeling them. All right, so like based on what you said, and I have no knowledge of him, but I did watch a documentary that kind of told his story, his version of the story, and I never heard this version, so it's kind of
Okay.
interesting. So he's mild mannered, he's quiet, he's not your like authoritative king. He's a shy kind of withdrawn kind of person just naturally, and he was kind of. Remember, he was well into his 30s when he married Diana. He was being kind of pushed into this position. Queen Elizabeth liked her. She was perfect for him, right age, right everything. So he was kind of pushed into this relationship where he was not feeling this relationship. And his mistress, what's her name?
Camilla
Camilla, whatever.
Bowles.
Camilla Balls. Balls?
Bowls. Think of a fruit bowl.
Oh, Camilla Balls. Balls. Bowls. She would never be accepted, right? So he felt forced into this relationship and like it's not to defend his actions or his lack of attention to his wife, but there was something there that was a little unnatural. Maybe the relationship was forced, So how do you feel about that? Does that change your?
No, it doesn't change. What it does say though is that when you're in that world, that life, these pairings are, what do you call them? Arranged.
Yeah.
There's like arranged marriages, right? You look at the pedigree and all this other stuff.
Man, all
So
that
that
bullshit.
that happened. I can understand his point of view, but I also
Right.
know that that's part of the whole royal.
That's the job, baby.
That's the job.
That's the job.
But it doesn't take away that. I understand the point of view, but I'm coming from completely another point of view. You're having a public affair basically in the eyes of the public in front of people. Like there's one thing if you slip and sliding behind the scenes or whatever, and even that's not a great look either. But you're like flaunting this
Yeah,
person.
you're having a loving relationship outside of in public.
Correct. So that I didn't. That wasn't a cool move for me, just from a human perspective.
All right.
So what's any other questions?
Yes. What's the takeaway? What's the takeaway from?
We wrapping this up because I have a whole lot to say about it. But yes,
What's
the
the big
takeaway? The
takeaway?
takeaway is that some people feel that the monarchy has run its course and it's time to abolish it, and there are people that it's just part of the fabric, like the Constitution is a fabric of this country. The royals are a fabric of the British culture, and it's part of European history.
Cool. Do you ever see the day that the British Empire is just kind of a small, little kept to one building, like kind of.
Well, the British Empire. When you think of the empire,
Well, I mean,
I don't
the
want.
British monarch.
I guess I shouldn't open this all up because it'd be a whole nother conversation. But I don't think the monarchy is going anywhere. It will always have the influence that it has. I mean, they were in India for 400 years. Like, just look at that. They split up India to India and Pakistan.
They ruined
created
India.
that.
They
They
kinda
created that
ruined
thing.
India.
So my point is, when I think of the monarchy, like that's where some of my thought process goes. And so
That's kind of how I used to feel about old music from the 50s and 40s, like Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole. Whenever I heard it, I just thought of oppression. I just thought of Jim Crow and that, because that was the era, right?
Yes.
That was the era. So I could never enjoy it until recently, where I got to the point where okay, I'm separating the music from the era because I have to. It's the same way I separate Michael Jackson from the music, or
No, I follow you.
you know what I mean? You got to kind of put it in its place.
But it's like I know we're supposed to wrap this up, but I just want to make this
No,
one
please.
point is that, like her jewelry is beautiful, right? The
Right.
crown, all the
Pomp
jewelry,
and
the pumps,
circumstance.
and all the those things, but all of those diamonds and jewels came from other countries. The people in that country dug those out, and they took those things, created a crown. Do you see what I'm saying? This is why when my mind goes into the royals, in fact, just sidebar, there was something I saw online where they showed you the profile of the queen and her jewelry, and each part of the crown, there was an arrow that says "mined in India." This jewel mined in South Africa. You know what I mean? And it's like it lets you know.
Matter.
It's just like, but it was like so symbolic of it was. It didn't make me mad, but what it was a representation of how I see that time. What it represented was exploitation. It's not an honorable thing. It's exploitation, and that wealth is what they still benefit from, even as of
Oh,
today.
absolutely.
So that's it.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
I'm DJ Mayday.
And I'm Professor S.
Peace.
Peace. Please like, subscribe, and comment.
Yes, and please check out if you have any questions or you have any comments, anything that can help the podcast sound better, please email us at sixtraintherapy@gmail.com.
Peace. We're out. Bye-bye.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.